All right, hey everybody, how is it going? Steven Schinder here, the son and the father-son team of Yesshift. My dad Dan Schinder isn't able to make it to this one. It's scheduling, and also it's about a show that I went to last night. But he and I are gonna meet up for a family thing in a couple days, so that'll be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, I felt like I couldn't wait to talk about this, so I figured I'd just go live for a little bonus episode. So let me just make sure that this is working and that I sound okay. Feel free to chime in, talk about music, yes, prog in general. This is a conversation, so we can just chat while we talk about the topic. Okay, so it looks like I sound fine. So the topic for this, as I alluded to on a previous podcast, last night, I'm recording this February 21st. Last night I went to a show at this venue called the Knitting Factory. It's in North Hollywood, and there, me and my friend Amanda saw three bands. So these were Lobate Scarp, Moonletters, and Behold the Monolith. So for those of you not familiar, those first two are prog rock, whereas Behold the Monolith is more metal. And for those of you who have been following Yesshift long enough, not Behold, Lobate Scarp, there are some similar letters in there. We talked about a year ago when we had Adam Sears on the show. A nice interview with him. Talked about that most recent album of theirs, You Have It All, which I actually have over here. Yeah, remember I got this from the Indiegogo campaign. Yeah, it's all nice and autographed. And yeah, in that interview, we talked about what it was like for them to get John Davison and Billy Sherwood on that album. And yeah, it was like when I heard that they were going to be in North Hollywood, and for those who don't know, I moved in the around the Los Angeles area a few months ago. So it's like, yeah, now I can finally go to some of these shows that are happening. So my friend Amanda and I ended up going. We went to the venue, and the doors weren't open right away, so we were like talking outside of the building for a little while, just a few minutes really. And we were talking about my dog's name. His name is Elias, and someone who was standing nearby knew that I named him after Elias of Sun Hillow, and this turned out to be another Steve from Deep Nuggets Radio. Maybe some of you prog fans are familiar with that, perhaps, but apparently he interviewed Adam a little while back as well. Yeah, I remember there were a bunch of interviews with Lobate Scarp about You Have It All. It was getting a lot of good press. So I listened to some of those interviews, but I can't remember if Deep Nuggets was one of them. But in any case, it was cool to, as Amanda said, I was basically among my people that night. So Amanda and I ate before the show at this bar that's like on the first floor. It's called the Federal, and the show started. It was slated to start at 8 p.m. We finished eating like it was a really close call. So it was like a few minutes past 8 when we went upstairs to see the show. Lobate Scarp were the opener, and when we got there, they started playing. Well, the songs we saw were all from their most recent album, You Have It All. So they started playing Conduit, really bombastic instrumental, and then they went into. I gotta look at my notes real quick. They went into Nothing Wrong, so I was like singing along to that, and then when Adam announced that they were gonna play a single of theirs from last year, I was like, "Oh, is it her Test Tube Universe?" And Amanda was like impressed that I knew when they started playing. And Amanda was not familiar with the either of these bands before I mentioned them when I mentioned that I was going to this concert. But yeah, they're really vibing with Lobate Scarp and um, our test tube universe, so catchy, that whole thing. And then the set ended with the title track, "You Have It All," and Amanda, who had brushed up on some of their music, knew that it was the longer track, like 14 or 17 minutes, something like that. And so, uh, and it was recognizable right away. I have a few clips that I recorded on my phone from that song. I might re-release this video later in the day or maybe tomorrow with some brief clips that I record from each of the bands. I might tack them on like either in between things or maybe at the end. I'll have to see which is best and if the audio is any good. Because like keep in mind these were through my phone, and the way my phone takes in audio it records is really weird. Um, but yeah, the show sounded great. And what was interesting about "You Have It All," the title track, is I'm so used to hearing it with John Davison singing the part where it's like, um, where it talks about the universe and the universe is for you, it loves you, and it always will. So in this instance, it was really cool hearing Adam's take on those parts. And he got like really passionate like as it kept going, and the song was as epic as it should be. and we got to talk to Adam after the set. I actually went to the merch table and got a couple other things. They had You Have It All there, but since I already had that, I ended up getting. Let me just make sure that show these to the screen. I got their first album. I got on CD, Time and Space. Got that one signed by Adam. It says Steve, Prague, and Yes rules, and his initials there. Yeah, I really like. Yeah, I love this stuff, like the layout, the little booklet that's inside with the imagery. Um, you see the members there. And the other thing I got was the EP Spirals and Portals. So it comes in this little sleeve. Um, Ended up signing it on the back. So thanks, Steve, for coming out, and his name again. So yeah, I've listened to all of Lobate Scarp's albums, but I didn't own these ones physically. You Have It All was the only one I owned physically. So really building up that physical Lobate Scarp collection, I guess you could say. And yeah, it was really cool seeing each other in person, and um, he's also said to say hi to my dad, and we were also talking about the next band that was coming up, Moonletters, and I think Adam mentioned that they're kind of like Rush, and I was like, oh yeah, I brushed up on Moonletters before all this, like. So Moonletters and Behold the Monolith were very new to me, but I listened to a couple albums from each of them. I'm still at a point where if I listen to the song, I know that I've heard it, but I haven't like memorized like all the song titles. There were a few I was able to figure out which ones they were, like in retrospect, just based on my notes and a few lyrics I heard, but I wasn't able to figure out what all the song titles are. But for Moonletters, think they played about 6 songs, based on what I have here. So the first one was Isolation and Foreboding, which I believe is from their most recent album. Let me just double check that. I'm just going to their website real quick. Don't mind me. And yeah, chime in if you've heard any of these bands, or like what's the most recent show that you've been to. Uh, okay, so I would go to music. I'm just navigating through the site. Okay, Isolation and Foreboding. Yeah, it is from their most recent album, Thank You from the Future. And then they played another song, which I'm not sure which one that was. Maybe it was from their first album, Until They Feel the Sun. And then they played Child of Tomorrow, another from their most recent album. Had some really nice stuff about like swimming and morning light. And then Sunset of Man, which is from, I believe, yeah, that was the final track on their first album, Until They Feel the Sun. The lyrics in that were really good. Like, there's a bit where it's like, once did the sun caress a golden shore, and lyrics like that just feel so prog, you know? And then they played a couple more, like 2 more songs from uh, their most recent album, and I don't know what the titles of those ones were, but it was a really neat show. Their singer wore this silver space suit. It kind of reminded me of My Favorite Martian, and there's even a point where the singer like went to the in the middle of the song. There's an instrumental section, so I went to the merch stand and I guess changed outfits and got like this drum thing and kind of walked in behind the crowd, kind of like surprising them. At this point, me and Amanda were sort of sitting on like some these seats with cushions, like in the corner, so we were seeing like what was going on in front of us. So it was a surprise to other people, and it was really cool. They had great showmanship. They had really cool outfits. And after the Moonlighters set, I went ahead and went to the merch stand. I was kind of torn between getting a T-shirt that showed the art of their second album, or if I should just get the vinyl. So I eventually settled on the vinyl. So I got "Thank You from the Future." The colors look more vibrant in person than they look here on the webcam, I'm sure. But yeah, like people who've followed this show know that I don't have a record player, but I do love seeing the art all blown up like this, like just this big. Let me just take it out and see, because I actually haven't gotten a good look at the contents, so this is a first for all of you and me as well right now. Okay, so it's in the plastic. Oh, there's this little poster that, okay, it has some members right there. That's really cool. I got the track listing on the back. Alright, I gotta make sure I'm like really careful and that this stuff doesn't like fall over type thing. Yeah, in hindsight, I probably should have taken the plastic off of this before going live, but I sort of forgot that the plastic was still on it. But yeah, maybe I can do that as I sort of talk more about it. You got like the rainbow colors there, and like all that stuff, like the Saturn and the flowers. It feels like a nice little retro throwback type thing, which I really love. If you're watching, what was the most recent album that you got on vinyl? Like, not necessarily most recently recorded, but just most recently acquired, or you could say most recently recorded. Okay, here we go. I figured it out. Let's see, so I'm just unwrapping it. Just love how spacey it looks. Alright, so let's take a look. Getting the sleeve out. Yeah. You can see the title right there. Let me make sure I have the right tab open. Yeah, that looks really nice. It's like this gray LP. Yeah. Side A, 33.5 RPM. Yeah, says that for side B too. Yeah, so I feel like if anything, seeing album cover art this big is probably what'll push me to become like a vinyl collector, which is kind of scary because I don't have as much space, like physical space, as I would like, but hot damn, this is nice to have. So for the next set, the next band being Behold the Monolith. So I'm just making sure I'm careful with this. We were able to catch their first song. That's just how it worked because of scheduling and stuff. But they ended up playing. Well, it's probably my favorite song of theirs I've heard. I've listened to Architects of the Void and From the Fathomless Deep. So this song that they start with, I'm pretty sure was the first track on From the Fathomless Deep. It's called The Crown, the Immeasurable Void. and it has kind of a Machine Messiah feel to me. I feel like Machine Messiah and probably Gates of Delirium are like the most metal sounding Yes songs. Um, yeah, I don't know. Are there any other metal sounding Yes songs to you folks? Feel free to let me know. But yeah, it was very bombastic and really great. Um, I wasn't able to like I couldn't figure out if I wanted to get the vinyl for from the Fathomless Deep or from Architects of the Void because they both look so cool. But I'm also like on a budget, and I bought like the CDs and the Moonletters vinyl, and then I was like, oh wait a minute, and I looked at the Bandcamp site for Behold the Monolith, and lo and behold, haha, they had the vinyl versions of those albums available on the Bandcamp site. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll order these from Bandcamp at some point. I know that the next Bandcamp Friday is on March 3rd, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's the first Friday of March. Um, and I might get that Moonletters shirt from their Bandcamp as well. Because yes, the merch stand, I was like so tempted. There's so much nice stuff, and these bands are cool, and I want to be able to buy their merch and support them. Um, but yeah, I had to show a little bit of restraint for the time being. This month I've been on a few different trips. Hanging out with friends, and like some other things. And there's like a really special event for a couple friends, and of course I have a family event coming up. But yeah, I'm very pleased with my purchases during this show. Um, and as Amanda and I were heading out, we were able to hear we could sort of hear the second song of the set from the outside of the building. That's how loud it was. And we sort of chatted a bit with someone else who was outside by the door, wearing this T-shirt, which at first I thought said "mood" letters, like maybe an intentional typo reference to moon letters. But I looked more carefully, and I was like, oh, it says "mood lifters." That's for a Rush tribute band. And this person was talking about how great that tribute band was, and we talked a bit about Rush, and I talked a little bit about the Clockwork Angels concert I went to, and we talked a bit about Yes. There was some point in the conversation when he said that something was long distance, and then I started like singing long distance runaround. So that was funny, and this guy is a huge fan of Drama, like the Drama album. Um, yeah, Drama has had a huge resurgence over, I would say, since the Benoit period of Yes. Um, yeah, Drama has pretty much become a classic Yes album over the years, which is odd to think about given how divisive it was at the time. But yeah, like Amanda said, I was among my people there, basically, prog fans that talk about music. We talked a little bit about Ticketmaster and how being a prog fan, since many prog bands are very niche, we don't have to worry too much about tickets getting sold out so quickly. So it's a huge plus. Um, but yeah, Amanda and I had to head out, but we were very pleased with how the show went and what we were able to see. The venue was really cool. It had like a disco ball at some point. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I'm forgetting about the whole night. And of course, I said bye to Adam as we were heading out, and he really appreciated that we were there. And I was like really glad to see him and the band there, and very much looking forward to whatever else they might be up to in the future. Um, and yeah, like I said, it was such a great show. My first concert of the year, and it included three bands. And I'm trying to. My New Year's resolution at the beginning of the year was to be more aware of some concerts that are going on in the area. Um, I talked a little bit about um, with the person who was wearing that Rush tribute band shirt. We talked a little bit about Trevor Horn and how he's touring with Seal. And again, I might try to see that show here in LA. Hopefully, I'm able to get tickets, but yeah, we'll see. Um, yeah, there's just so much going on, and I'm very excited for what more there is to come in this year. So, yeah, hopefully I did the night justice. It's kind of different reviewing a show on a vlog as opposed to just writing it down. But, I have some house chores to do, and I just really wanted to talk about this with the little free time that I had here. Um, and yeah, like I said, I might repost this with a couple little things added, but you can keep following Yesshift at facebook.com/Yesshift. You can find the videos on YouTube as well at youtube.com/@Yesshift. And on anchor.fm/Yesshift, you can see all the podcast platforms that we're on. And you can support us. There's a support button there. Uh, yeah, you can do that with whatever you feel comfortable with. And yeah, I guess that'll do it. I believe the next show that we have scheduled is on March 2nd. Let me just double check that. Um, and yeah, I know it kind of feels like me and my dad are on a little break, but there's a lot of cool stuff happening. I saw that Kevin Mulrine's Yes, the Tornado storybook is now on burningshed.com, so that's really cool. That one comes out March 31st. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just double checking the dates that me and my dad agreed on. Okay, yeah, so we have agreed on March 2nd. Um, it'll be either 4 or 5 p.m. Pacific time in the US, of course. But yeah, we'll post about it in advance, like as it gets closer. Um, and I'm still working on the Roger Dean documentary. I saw that he has another Q&A Facebook Live thing going on tomorrow, February 22nd. So I kind of want to watch that as well and see if there's anything else I want to include as an addendum to like the end of the documentary. But yeah, like once you guys see that, it'll, the whole Secret Path documentary thing that we've put together, it'll be worth it, the wait. Um, all right, so yeah, that'll do it. Thanks for tuning in. And I don't know why I was about to say, May the Force be with you. This is not a Star Wars podcast, but yeah, keep on listening to Yes, Lobate Scarp, Moonletters, Behold the Monolith. All these very great bands. Listen to Yesterday's. I saw that they put a cover of Tempest Fugit up on their Instagram. Um, and yeah, lots of great bands to listen to, and we'll see you all soon.